And welcome back. We're talking now with Mike Hughes, who's a facilitator for the Hoodler Family Life Skills Center. And speaking with your wife, she brought up a really interesting point, and I guess it's actually referred to as the brain's cognitive development. And what exactly, like being able to restart that, I think the way that Pam was explaining it to me, it's very hopeful. It's sort of like the things that have happened in the past, and she had mentioned around 8 and 9 when adrenaline basically kicks in and takes over, that the maturity of the brain stalls at that point almost. And so I would like, if you would, tell me a bit more about that.
Normally at the point of trauma, usually in young children, something will happen that will create a surge of adrenaline into the brain. And what that does, especially in young children, it stops their ability to reason. And all of a sudden they're arrested at that point in their growth in that particular area of their life. Our brain is designed when we're in 9, 11 years old to release chemicals into our brain, serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, that allow a child to begin to reason, to go from just taking everything matter of fact, like mommy and daddy are getting a divorce, it's my fault, to wait a minute, I understand things are going wrong, I've seen this coming, I've been in the home where these things are fights and those sorts of things. I didn't do anything to cause that, but mommy and daddy are still getting a divorce. The difference is the child takes the rap for it in here. And it stalls their development. It stalls their ability to reason. It can be any number of things. It can be a child who at birth doesn't get a chance to bond with its mom. And they don't have that time period where they lay on their mom's stomach and they bond visually with their mom. For whatever reason, an adopted child, a situation where the mother is having trouble, so they whisk the baby away to take care of the mom. That relates in the child's brain to, my mommy doesn't love me, she rejected me. And they will carry that through their lives until somebody gets a chance to explain it to them and work with them and say, wait a minute, this is not something you did. Nobody rejected you, it just happened. But they go through life thinking, I'm no good, my mom didn't want me. And they deal with life's issues from that standpoint. And it's something that they don't understand, they don't even know about. All the way to, 5 major areas that create trauma in children are incest, rejection, physical, emotional abuse, and molestation.
Oh, okay.
Those are things that the child can relate back to and go, I know that happened. And that creates a trauma and will arrest their development at that stage.
That's fascinating. And so if I'm understanding correctly, then this program and what you're able to, the tools you're able to give folks through the training can actually then restart that
That's
development.
Correct.
So say somebody is maybe in their late 20s now and they've had this trauma that they experienced as a child and they've carried that all through their lives. When they come to your program, I understand that can manifest in all kinds of different ways, which we talked a little bit with Pam about, but when they get to your program, take an example of somebody and then what you would do with them to get that cognitive brain function restarted.
Okay. Phase 1 of our program is 30 weeks long. And every week is a different aspect, a different area that person could have been arrested. I'll give you an example of one young man that we had in our program, and very, very sharp, very intelligent young man. Could do anything he sets his mind to. And went through some things in his childhood that arrested him. He came into the classroom periodically seriously considering suicide, because his whole mental attitude was, I'm no good, I'm not worth it, nobody loves me, I can't get anything right, I abuse the people I'm around, what's the use? And as we went through the 30 weeks, you could see him start to question those stands. because we gave him factual information. Basically every week, 2 or 3 times, I would tell him, you know what? If you're teachable, it's fixable. And he bought into that and graduated from the program. Actually, at graduation, talked somewhat about his previous attempts and designs on killing himself.
Wow.
And he's a different young man now. He's in phase 2.
Okay.
Very, very different person. So different that his sister, who was getting to the point she was dreading to answer the phone because she knew somebody was going to tell her that her brother had committed suicide, to the point now she's driving hundreds of miles every week to take the class because of the differences she saw in her brother.
Really? He got something she wants now.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, what about the people then? I mean, who are, I guess maybe even start with like the age group. Is there sort of a particular age group that your program targets, or is this, I know Pam mentioned potential youth program, but are these 20s, 30-somethings, or is it people of all ages?
It's people of all ages, from in the life skills program itself, people from 18 years and older.
Okay.
I had a man come in who was 70 plus years old and said, you know, I'm thinking of taking this, but I don't know if it's going to do any good because I'm so old. And as the program went on, he realized that it was for him.
Yeah.
It's designed to deal with everybody's traumas.
So to say, well, who would be appropriate for this program that you offer is kind of irrelevant, because it sounds like there's something that can be offered to anybody, because it addresses the human element of all of us, it sounds like.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. People ask me, well, who should take life skills? And my automatic answer is everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
There's something in it for everybody.
And how many people are you guys, like when you say 30 weeks, is that 30 consecutive weeks that person is coming to the program?
Yes.
They're there for 30 weeks.
Phase 1 it's a continuous 30-week class.
Okay.
1 day a week, 30 weeks in a row, 3 hours per class.
Okay.
And they're required to be there. If they're not there, if they miss more than 2 classes, they're out. They're have
dismissed.
to start all over again and at the start.
Really?
But it's pretty, it's structured, very, very tightly structured, because the things that we deal with and the amount of information that we cram into it, if you miss a week, you're way, way back.
Yeah.
And you lose what could be in it for you. And there's 3 things that I really use a lot in class with my men. If you're teachable, it's fixable, is one of them. The second one is, that was then and this is now. And probably the most important one that I've taught my men to use when they're confronted with situation is, yeah, but what's the truth? We teach them to find the truth and to use it to overcome the things that we've been talking about.
Great. And just because you're the way you are today doesn't mean that that's how you have to be tomorrow.
That's correct.
Yeah, great. All right, well, best of luck to you and Pam, and interesting stuff. Thanks for coming in, sharing a little bit about it. And like you mentioned, the best thing for people who this is maybe perked their interest, just get a hold of you guys. So, all right. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
It was good to sit down with you, Mike. And you guys, thanks again for watching, and see you next time right here on Localite. John Compton here saying thanks again for watching. And remember, if you've got a guest idea, let us know. Just visit localite.com.